Have you ever stumbled across something from your childhood, only to realize it wasn't meant to be found? What if an old cartoon you never heard of wasn't just a forgotten show, but a doorway to something far worse? Tonight, I'm sharing the story of the Sunnytime Crew, a seemingly innocent 2000s cartoon that hides a nightmare beneath its bright colors. Once you start watching, you might never leave. Welcome to Nightmare Vault. Let's dive in. I found the tapes in a thrift store on a Tuesday afternoon, a box shoved under a shelf of cracked picture frames and dusty bread makers. There were 11 VHS cassettes inside, all neatly labeled in black marker. Sunnytime Crew, 2003. I'd never heard of it. I grew up on Dexter's Lab, Courage the Cowardly Dog, Powerpuff Girls. I thought I knew every early 2000s cartoon, even the weird local ones that aired at 6 a.m. on public access. But Sunnytime Crew? Nothing. The writing on the labels was cramped and precise, like someone had written it very slowly. Some of the tapes had crude drawings, a smiling yellow sun with curling rays like fingers, a white rabbit with a bow tie, a lumpy green turtle holding a picnic basket. The cashier didn't even look up when I carried them to the counter. $2 for the whole box, he said, flipping a page of his newspaper. At home, I dug out my old combo TV/VCR from the closet. The first tape was labeled Episode 1, The Picnic. The cartoon opened with colors so bright they felt unnatural. Blue skies, green hills, flowers with faces. 4 characters walked into frame. Sunny, a yellow sun with stick-thin legs and a wide, fixed grin. Pebbles the bunny, white with pink ears, wearing a blue bow tie. Tilly the turtle, green shell, picnic basket in hand. Mr. Stomp, a huge purple bear with a derby hat. They sang a song about smiles being forever things. Voices pitched a little too high, syllables too crisp. The plot was nothing. They set out a blanket, ate sandwiches, told knock-knock jokes. But in the background there was a hollow tree. And inside that hollow, something moved. It was just a flicker. Pale, thin fingers curling around the wood before slipping back inside. I rewound, paused. The image was grainy, but the shape of the fingers looked wrong. Too many joints. By the third tape, the show had started to stick in my head. I'd be at work and hear the theme song faintly, as if someone was humming it under their breath. At night, I'd dream of rolling green hills and bright skies. I'd wake up with the sound of canned laughter echoing faintly in my apartment. The 6th tape was different. Near the end, the characters stood in a circle. Sunny stopped mid-sentence, turned directly toward the camera, and spoke in a low, distorted voice that didn't match the rest of the show. "Don't blink." The screen went black for 2 full seconds. Then the credits rolled as if nothing had happened. That's when I started to notice changes. The sky outside my apartment seemed brighter. Not just sunny, cartoon bright, too blue to be real. Objects from the show appeared in my dreams first. Mr. Stomp's derby hat, Tilly's picnic basket. Then, in my waking life. One morning, I found a single oversized cartoon flower sitting in my kitchen sink. Its petals were soft, but the colors hurt to look at. By the time I went to get my phone to take a picture, it was gone. A week in, I started finding small objects from the show in my apartment. A blue bow tie on my couch, a cracked derby hat under my bed, and at night, the laugh track came back. Not from the TV, from somewhere inside the walls. One night, I woke to a flickering light coming from my living room. The VCR was on. The tape inside was one I hadn't watched yet, Episode 9, Rainy Day. The episode opened with the crew sitting inside a cozy cartoon house while rain fell outside. But the rain didn't look right. Each drop was too large, too slow, each splashing like thick paint. Sunny stared out the window for a long time before slowly turning toward the screen. When he spoke, his mouth actually moved, a first. "We've been waiting for you, Alex." My stomach turned cold. No character had ever said my name. I froze in the dark, the blue light from the TV painting my walls in a cartoon glow. The air in the room felt wrong, thick, charged, like the second before a lightning strike. Sonny's mouth hung open for a beat too long after he spoke my name. Then the fixed smile snapped back into place, the head tilting just slightly to one side, as if listening for something in my apartment. The other characters sat motionless behind him. Pebble's eyes were wide and wet, pupils pinpricks in the white. Tilly's picnic basket was open, and inside was nothing. Just blackness that didn't match the shading of the rest of the cartoon. Then the screen went dark. No credits, no static. Just blackness and the faint, steady sound of breathing. It went on for 30 seconds before the tape clicked off. I didn't touch the VCR for 3 days after that. When I finally worked up the nerve, I decided to dig around online. No Wikipedia page, no fan forums, no retro cartoon lists. The only mention of Sunny Time Crew I could find was a dead link on an old TV schedule archive for a small cable station in Michigan, listing it at 4:30 a.m. weekdays for 1 month in 2003. The link led nowhere. On a hunch, I posted on a lost media subreddit. Most replies were jokes or people saying they'd never heard of it. But one message came through my DMs an hour later. "You have the tapes?" I typed back. "Yeah. Do you know about them?" The reply took a long time. When it came, it was just an address. And, "Don't bring them. Just come. Before you watch more." It was an hour's drive to a decaying little town whose main street looked like it had been abandoned mid-renovation. Half-finished sidewalks, papered-up windows. The address led to a second-floor apartment above an empty laundromat. A woman in her 50s answered the door, thin and jittery, wearing 3 layers of sweaters despite the heat. "You've seen their faces?" she asked before I could speak. I nodded. "They'll follow now," she said, stepping aside. Her name was Melissa. She told me she'd worked as an animator in the early 2000s, mostly doing in-between frames for low-budget kids' shows. One day, a man she'd never met offered her a cash job on a private project called Sunny Time Crew. "We didn't write scripts," she said, twisting her hands together. "We didn't design the characters. The storyboards just appeared. Every Monday morning, a thick envelope on the desk. New episode, no return address." When I asked where the storyboards came from, her eyes went glassy. "They came in dreams," she said. "I'd go to bed and I'd see it. The whole thing. Woke up and my hands knew what to draw. It felt good at first, like someone else was moving me, until I realized they weren't stories. They were invitations." I asked what happened to the show. "We aired 12 episodes. By the last one, we were down to 3 animators. The rest had either quit without notice or stopped coming in. We never found one of them. Just his shoes, lined up neatly in the middle of the studio." Her voice cracked. "And then they started showing up outside the studio windows, standing there, waiting." Melissa grabbed my wrist hard enough to hurt. "Don't watch the last tape. It's not an ending. It's a door." I drove home with her words in my head, the box of tapes sitting on the floor like it was aware of me. That night, I locked the closet door I'd shoved them into. I still woke to the sound of the theme song, faint, as if coming from under the floorboards. By the following week, my dreams were entirely inside the cartoon's world. The grass under my feet was too soft, the sky too blue, and in the distance I could see the hollow tree. The fingers were always there now, curling slowly, beckoning. And in every dream, Sunny was closer. One night, I came home from work to find my TV on. The VCR was empty, but the screen showed an episode I'd never seen. The crew was sitting at their picnic spot, staring into the camera without blinking. Sunny leaned forward until his face filled the screen. His grin wavered. The voice was low again, almost human. "Let's play outside." My front door creaked behind me. I turned. Nothing. When I looked back, the screen was black, my reflection staring back at me. But my reflection wasn't smiling. It was frowning. Over the next few days, the bleed between the cartoon and my apartment got worse. Shadows moved in ways they shouldn't. Corners of the room would seem to bend inward, like the perspective was wrong. I'd look out the window and swear the sky was painted, and then came the laughter, no longer from the walls, but from behind me, always just out of sight. 3 nights ago, I finally caved. I took the last tape from the closet. No label, just a sundoodle, rays curling like grasping hands. I pressed play. The episode opened in complete darkness. Slowly, shapes emerged. The hollow tree, the picnic blanket, the 4 characters standing in a ring. But they weren't drawn anymore. They were real. And so was I. I was standing among them, the grass under my feet damp, the air smelling like warm plastic. Sonny turned toward me, taller than I'd thought, his smile now stretching from ear to ear in a way that made my stomach flip. "You made it," he said. His voice was inside my head, not in my ears. The others moved closer. Pebbles reached for my arm, her fingers too long now, nails clicking. Mr. Stomp's hat fell off, and where his face should have been was a spinning spiral. I ran. The hills rolled endlessly in all directions. No matter how far I went, I could still hear them. The laugh track, looping, glitching, the same 8 seconds of hollow mirth. I woke up on my couch. The TV was off. The last tape was gone. But when I went outside this morning, the sky was wrong. Too bright, too still. And in the reflection of my car window, Sonny was standing just over my shoulder. The reflection didn't move when I did. I stood there in the driveway, breathing hard, watching Sonny's tall, gangly frame behind me in the car window. His smile didn't twitch. His black eyes didn't blink. And then, slowly, the reflection tilted its head. I spun around. Nothing. Just the empty street. But when I turned back, the reflection was gone. And so was mine. I called in sick to work. I didn't sleep that night. Every creak in the walls sounded like footsteps on soft grass. Every shadow felt too round, like it belonged to something with an outline. By the second day, I stopped leaving the apartment. I started stacking boxes and chairs against the windows, as if that could keep whatever this was out. It didn't. On the 3rd night, I woke up to a scratching sound. Not in the walls, on the inside of my TV screen. It was faint at first, then more urgent, like someone trying to scrape their way through glass. I sat frozen in the dark, the green VCR light casting a sickly glow on the carpet. Then the screen lit up by itself. No tape inside. A static field of bright, painterly green filled the screen. Grass, swaying. The shot stayed still for almost a full minute before a shadow passed across it. Long, thin fingers curled into frame, the nails dragging along the inside of the image. They tapped twice, then withdrew. The grass kept swaying. By morning, I knew I had to talk to Melissa again. But when I drove back to her building, the laundromat below her apartment was dark, windows covered in plywood. Her door upstairs was ajar. Inside, the place was stripped bare. No furniture, no dishes, no clothes. The only thing left was an old TV in the center of the floor, still plugged in. The screen showed a freeze frame from Sunny Time Crew. Melissa sitting cross-legged on the picnic blanket, smiling with the others. She wasn't drawn. She was real. Her eyes were wet and glassy, her mouth stretched into the same permanent grin as Sunny's. That's when I stopped wondering if I could get rid of the tapes. It was too late for that. I stood there staring at the TV, the frozen image of Melissa smiling on that picnic blanket. She wasn't looking at the camera. She was looking just past it, at something, or someone, behind it. The more I stared, the more wrong the picture looked. The grass wasn't textured like real grass anymore. It was flat, solid color, like someone had filled it in with a single paint bucket tool. The shadows under Melissa's chin didn't match the angle of the sun. I stepped closer. Her eyes moved. Not much. Just enough for her gaze to meet mine. Her grin stayed locked in place, but her pupils shifted until they were looking directly at me through the screen. I stumbled back, knocking into the wall. My heel hit something. It was a cardboard box, the shoebox, all 11 tapes inside. I had left them at home. I drove for hours after that, until the roads narrowed to nothing but black forest on either side. I pulled over at a gas station that looked half abandoned and bought duct tape and garbage bags. Back in the car, I sealed the box of tapes shut, taped it over and over until the plastic was crinkled under my hands. I shoved it into the trunk, slammed it, and started driving again with no plan except to get as far away as possible. By sunset, I was back in town. I hadn't turned once. The streets were wrong. Houses leaned slightly, like they'd been redrawn without a ruler. The sky was an even, solid blue, no clouds, no depth. The air was too still, no wind, no sound of insects. And the people? The first one I saw was Mr. Lawson, the man who ran the corner store. He was standing perfectly still on the sidewalk, hands at his sides. His eyes were wide, glassy, and he was smiling. Not a happy smile, the Sunny Time Crew smile. I drove past slowly. More people stood like that, in their yards, at bus stops, in driveways, all staring straight ahead, grinning. By the time I got home, the grin felt like it was burning into my skull. I locked every door, every window, and sat on the couch with my head in my hands. The VCR clicked on by itself. The TV showed a live shot of my apartment. My couch, my coffee table, me sitting there. In the corner of the frame, something moved. Long, thin fingers curled around the edge of the picture, nails tapping the glass. The theme song began. I didn't move. The fingers slid away. And then Sonny stepped into frame, tall enough that his head nearly touched the ceiling. His smile was wider now, the edges of his mouth curling almost to the sides of his head. "Time for the last episode," he said. The carpet under my feet softened, turned spongy, green. The walls bent upward and away, flattening into bright painted backgrounds. My furniture collapsed into simple shapes, colors shifting, outlines thickening. I could hear the laugh track now, not from the TV, but from everywhere, looping, louder and louder. The air smelled like melted crayons. I ran for the door. Outside wasn't my street anymore. It was rolling green hills under that impossible blue sky. The hollow tree stood in the distance, its fingers beckoning. The crew was waiting. Pebbles, Tilly, Mr. Stomp, and Melissa, sitting among them, still smiling. Sonny opened his arms. "We've been waiting, Alex." The laugh track didn't stop when they surrounded me. It hasn't stopped since. I'm writing this in a place where the sky never changes, and the grass doesn't move unless they want it to. Every face here smiles, even mine when I'm not paying attention. If you find the tapes, don't watch them. Don't try to destroy them. They're not recordings. They're broadcasts. And once you've been on the show, you never leave. I sat on the floor of my apartment, the air thick and unreal. The TV glowed with that sickly cartoon blue, the VCR humming softly, though there was no tape inside. The walls weren't walls anymore. They melted into flat, painted backgrounds. The sky a harsh, endless blue. The grass an unnatural green. The hollow tree stood at the edge of the horizon, its fingers twitching, beckoning. I wanted to run. I tried, but my legs felt heavy, like I was sinking into the floor, which had turned soft, spongy, like the picnic blanket in the show. Then from the corner of the screen, Sonny appeared. Taller than I remembered, his smile stretched impossibly wide, his eyes empty black holes that somehow bore into me. "Welcome back, Alex," he said, his voice inside my head. "It's time for the last episode." The laugh track started, a slow, grinding loop that echoed everywhere and nowhere at once. The other characters appeared behind him, Pebbles, Tilly, Mr. Stomp, and Melissa too. sitting cross-legged with that same frozen smile. They reached for me, their fingers curling like the hollow tree's branches, and I let them take me, because there was no leaving. Not really. Now, the world you know is just a channel to watch them through. They're on every screen, in every reflection. The Sunnytime crew isn't a show, it's a broadcast. And once you tune in, you're part of the cast forever. That's it. That's the end of the story. If you liked it, like and subscribe. Also, comment what would you do in this situation. Yeah, see you and have a scary night.